The 21st of March is the World Down Syndrome Day. The day is set aside by the United Nations as a day to create awareness about Down syndrome. The United Nations estimates that 1 in every 1,000 to 1,100 live births in the world is a Down syndrome child. Doctors say that children born with Down syndrome have a chance of living a normal life. Here is that special feature by Yvonne Kemuma.
According to the United Nations, it is estimated that approximately 3,000 to 5,000 children are born with Down syndrome every year. And while the disease occurs by chance, mothers above 35 years are more likely to give birth to Down syndrome children. But first, what is Down syndrome, you may ask? Down syndrome is a genetic condition in which a child is born with an extra copy of chromosome 21. Normally, a child is born with 46 chromosomes instead of 47. The presence of the extra chromosome affects brain and body development. Usually, the affected children grow up with characteristic features such as flat facial features, a short neck, small ears, hands and feet, one crest in the palm of the hand, and at times the child grows up to be shorter than usual. At Bariko Industries, we meet 24-year-old Ivan Rono. Ivan was born with Down syndrome, and as his mother Eunice Koros describes him, he is a perfectionist who is meticulous with his personal stuff, and owing to his condition, he is slow and takes his time with things.
Whatever he does it to its, to the most, perfectly. You teach him something and he gets it, and he will not get it from another person. I would say, for example, we use electric gadgets, we use gas and all this. So whenever I get a new gadget, say a cooker, the first thing I do is to show him how to do it, and he will not forget, and he will use it.
We join Ivan in his daily trade, where he works as a machine operator at Bariko Industries. The firm specializes in stationery, and for Rono, his task lays in stitching the exercise books using a machine. His parents say his routine is almost always the same, and he is able to handle them independently. First, he signs in at the front desk, then goes ahead to grab his overalls and gloves before he heads on to his workstation to attend to his day's duties. His father, who at this point is also his employer, informs us that Ivan understands how to operate other machinery.
The most important thing about him is that the time that he sits and does work, he does it without diversion, without other things. So they tend to be very meticulous, they tend to concentrate, they don't have other side things. We brought him to work with us, and he has a good ability to learn, right? So we put him into a number of areas to try, and eventually one of the areas that now he does is that he works as a machine operator, and he does stitching of exercise books with a stitching machine. So his daily job is that he walks in the morning, puts on his machine, cleans his machine, sets up himself, and continues to do his work as per the way the books are coming in.
According to Dr. Martha Gatumbu, children with Down syndrome have the capabilities to grow up and lead normal lives with the right foundation.
The ideal situation should be a child with Down syndrome is diagnosed early, and once they're diagnosed early with Down syndrome, we need to look for the life-threatening defects that can be managed. So specifically, we would like to do an echocardiogram to rule out congenital heart defects. And if the congenital defects are there, we need to refer them for treatment as soon as possible. That is surgical repair of the holes. If they have any low thyroid hormone levels, we need to give thyroid hormone replacement. And generally, once we have dealt with any life-threatening diseases or morbidities they may have, this child needs to start occupational therapy as soon as possible, because this helps improve their muscle tone and they can be able to catch up in terms of their milestones with other children.
Children with Down syndrome are susceptible to several birth defects, among them heart diseases, hypothyroidism, slow developmental milestones, and they tend to have intellectual disabilities. Ivan happens to be among those who make it to adulthood, but his journey so far has had its own fair share of complications.
Okay, well, one of the biggest challenges he has had in his life is about the eyes. He developed what's called a cornea, challenges with the cornea, which eventually led to cornea transplant for both of his eyes.
As Dr. Martha advises, early diagnosis and medical care will help in identifying any life-threatening condition, which then can be addressed as the child develops. Occupational therapy is also administered to increase muscle tone for the patients. And while Down syndrome is unpredictable and only occurs by chance, Dr. Martha explains to us some of the predisposing factors.
Yes. So in the literature, it's been documented to occur in elderly women, that's above 35 years, women who are multiparous, so meaning they have a higher birth order. That means if the woman is on her 5th or 6th or 7th pregnancy, and mostly those, but we are finding that it can still occur in women under 35 and it can still occur in women who are of a lower birth order.
At Down Syndrome Society of Kenya, we meet Lucy Mumbo, the society's national coordinator, who was also a Down syndrome mother. Lucy, who started the Down syndrome journey in 2003 with the birth of her daughter Neema, tells us of her journey with Down syndrome and how even with the demise of her daughter Neema, she still wishes to help other Down syndrome parents in an effort to ease the journey.
We journeyed for 2.5 years, and she had a heart condition. I took her to India, and she had her surgery, and after 8 months, she passed on. After I came back, after 8 months, she passed on. And that was 2005. But I've continued with Down Syndrome Society of Kenya because I know the journey, and for me, I say I have started and finished, but that doesn't mean that I quit the organization. I'm there to hold other hands, people, and guide them through the journey.
Established in 2003, Down Syndrome Society of Kenya is a non-profit disabled person organization that works for the rights and welfare of persons with Down syndrome. As Lucy explains to us, the society is actively fighting stigma and discrimination while championing for inclusion of Down syndrome children.
25th March, the history of Down Syndrome Society of Kenya, we always have fun on our day because, one, as I told you, there's stigma and there's discrimination. Most of our children, you see a parent will be told, come for my child's birthday or come for my wedding, but don't come with that child. So we call it our day. But we invite others. So we celebrate as much as we do, as we can.
According to Lucy Mumbo, persons with Down syndrome are registered under the National Council of Persons with Disabilities. Special cases also get funding of about 2,500 shillings, which at times may not be enough. Yvonne Kemuma, KU TV.